Alexander Volkanovski's journey from a Greco-Roman wrestling prodigy to a budding rugby star to ultimately becoming one of the greatest MMA champions of all time was fairly smooth until he entered stormy waters following his knockout loss to Islam Makhachev. How did things go south for the former pound-for-pound king? And can he bounce back from the crushing defeat and defend his crown against the scary Ilia Topuria at UFC 298? Let's find out. Born and raised to Greek-Macedonian parents in Australia, Alexander Volkanovski had a knack for athletics from an early age. His journey started with Greco-Roman wrestling in his teenage years, but he later developed a keen interest in rugby in his school and college days. He even pursued the sport semi-professionally and won the Player of the Year award in 2010. By then, Volkanovski had no plans of entering MMA, but during a rugby off-season in 2011, he decided to train at a mixed martial arts facility to improve strength and coordination as well as stay in shape. Within weeks, Volkanovski fell in love with the sport, sacrificing his dream of making it to the rugby national team for a glorious career in the most brutal sport in the world. Call it fate, destiny, or MMA gods working overtime. Volkanovski fell in love with MMA enough to make his professional debut in 2012. In the next 4 years, the great Volk bagged one victory after another and left a trail of bodies in his wake with his Greco-Roman wrestling skills combined with a crushing overhand right. In 2016, Volkanovski secured the biggest win of his career up until that point, knocking Jamie Mullarkey out cold with a devastating overhand right to win the Australian Fighting Championship featherweight title. In late 2016, Volkanovski made a perfect start to his UFC career by stopping Yusaki Kasuya in the second round with ground and pound. Continuing his stellar winning ways in the promotion, Volkanovski racked up a few more victories, and before he knew it, the Aussie prospect was swimming with the sharks. In 2018, Volkanovski had his toughest career fight against Chad Money Mendez. The first round of their contest was back and forth, but Mendez used his experience to land significant damage on the rising star. In the second round, however, Volkanovski turned the tables on his opponent, rocking him a couple of times before putting him away to put the UFC's 145-pound division on notice. A few months later, Volkanovski battled Jose Aldo, who is widely regarded as one of the greatest featherweights of all time, if not the ultimate best. The fight was hard-fought, but Volkanovski used his speed, pace, and pressure to churn out a decision victory and earn his shot at the champion and the best boxer in the UFC, Max Holloway. When Volk fought Holloway for the first time at UFC 245 in 2019, the Hawaiian was a dominant champion, who was expected to run through the Aussie with ease. But Volk defied the odds and turned the MMA world on its head. It was a highly competitive matchup between two of the best as both men produced moments on the feet. But Volkanovski ultimately did more and won the belt. The rematch, which took place at UFC 251 6 months later, was highly contested. Holloway came out guns blazing in the first 2 rounds and landed big shots, a few of which rocked the Aussie. But the champ came back strong and won by a decision. The trilogy between the two wasn't even close as Volkanovski beat Holloway from pillar to post, showcasing the improvements he had made to his striking game at City Kickboxing. In between his second and third fight against Holloway, Volkanovski took out Brian Ortega and then absolutely smashed the Korean Zombie to bag a few more title defenses, following which he moved up to lightweight to challenge Islam Makhachev at UFC 284. The fight was an absolute war between the two, and Volkanovski produced the biggest moment of the fight by dropping the Dagestani with a big right hand in the dying moments of round 5. However, he was unable to secure the victory. Volkanovski bounced back into the win column by defeating his title against Yair Rodriguez and smashing the Taekwondo sensation. It wasn't even close. A few months later, Volk took up a short-notice lightweight title rematch with Islam Makhachev, filling in for Charles Oliveira at UFC 294. Unfortunately, Volk was knocked out cold in the first round, and he later admitted that he had made a mistake by taking up the fight on short notice. He said that it wasn't worth it, but the damage had already been done, and now it's time for damage control. The next time Volkanovski enters the cage will be at UFC 298 in February of 2024, when he will be defending his featherweight crown against the high-flying Ilia Topuria, who is similar to Volkanovski in more ways than one. The Georgian is a Greco-Roman wrestling specialist who is extremely effective on the feet. El Matador is a vicious fighter who hits like a mini truck going at full speed, and he's riding high following his win against Josh Emmett in 2023. Topuria is a seriously tough test for Volkanovski for two reasons. Number one, he's a very tough stylistic matchup. Compared to every opponent Volk has faced at featherweight, Topuria has no known weaknesses. Number two, he doesn't have a striking problem like Brian Ortega. He doesn't have grappling issues like Yair Rodriguez. He isn't slow and sloppy like the Korean Zombie. He has a very slow center of gravity and extremely quick in and out movement. But most importantly, Topuria's confidence is sky high. Volkanovski has all the tools that Topuria has, and he has them better. He also has a low center of gravity, and he's extremely explosive on the feet with an exceptional ground game. But does he have the confidence to deal with a fiery challenge like Topuria, especially now that he's coming off a brutal knockout loss? For the first time in his career, Volkanovski's back is against the wall. But if there's one man who has the skills as well as the mental strength to bounce back from a brutal knockout loss, it's Alexander Volkanovski. He should forget what happened at lightweight, take it on the chin, and make his experience at featherweight count. Ilia Topuria is surely a beast. He is an amazing fighter who's done incredible things in the octagon. But Volkanovski is pound for pound the number 2 ranked fighter in the world for a reason. And he'll show exactly why he's rated so highly when the lights shine the brightest. Will Alex Volkanovski bounce back into the win column with a stellar victory against Ilia Topuria? Or will things go from bad to worse for the Aussie? Share your thoughts, predictions, and opinions in the comment section below. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and ring that notification bell to stay in the loop on all things combat sports. Stay tuned, fight fans.